How's it going, everybody? It's Ryan and Kathy back here in the kitchen. Thank you for joining us on another episode of A Bite of Life. Today we're going to be making a chicken soup that has a ginger scallion broth. I'm going to show you how to make a homemade chicken stock, and then I'll show you how to build the soup. So let's jump right into it. So the first thing I'm going to show you how to do is make my chicken stock. I've got 2 leeks there, 2 heads of garlic. You can use 1 white or yellow onion. I've got some black peppercorns, about 3-4 bay leaves, 4 big bulbs of ginger, 3 carrots, 3 celery. I'm also going to use some of the celery leaves for garnish for the soup at the end, and I've got some thyme there, some fresh thyme. And then we have a rotisserie chicken. We're gonna debone, take all the meat off of the chicken and use that inside the soup. And then also, I'm gonna take the skin off and we'll use the skin as a garnish. We'll fry it up with a little bit of olive oil and just make it nice and crispy and just have it like crackling on the top of the soup at the end. So that's basically everything that you're gonna need for the stock. So I took a good segment of the rotisserie breast off and cut it into strips, and this is just for looks. It's a great garnish like on top of the noodles when we finish our soup, but you can just dice it up if you'd like. Okay, so the carcass of the rotisserie we just picked goes right into the stock pot. We also have a bunch of other bones that we have saved in our freezer just for this occasion because we want to make a really big batch of the stock. And then you're gonna cut up your ginger. You can leave it big pieces. I didn't even peel it, just cut it up a couple times, throw it right in there. Same with the carrots. Just rough chop everything. Rough chop your celery and your onion. Just cut it 2 or 3 times and just chuck it in there. Don't even have to take the skins off. And then for the garlic, I'm doing 2 heads of garlic and just cut them in half, throw them in there. We're gonna do about half, like a handful of thyme. And then the leeks, just same thing as everything else, just rough chop it, throw it in there. And then for the black peppercorns, we're gonna do about a tablespoon or so. And you can use a mallet, side of a mallet, or you could actually use a pan just to kind of crack them. I'm not looking to bust them down into a powder. I just wanna give them a crack like once or twice and then throw them right in the pot. And then a couple pinches of salt. So I'm not looking to make it real salty, just a little bit. And we can adjust it with whatever other recipes that we're gonna use the stock for. So since we're making a really big batch, we're gonna have plenty left over after this recipe. Then you wanna fill up your stock pot to about 75% full. A couple inches above your chicken and your veggies. Then we're gonna put it on the range, put it on your burner, and bring it up to a boil quickly. So once it comes up to a boil, you wanna check if you need to skim any scum or anything from the edges or on the surface. It's usually not that bad when you use roasted bones though. And then for the soup, you're going to need chicken, which we took from our rotisserie chicken. We're gonna roast these shiitakes. You don't have to use shiitakes. I can explain what to do if you use button mushrooms or a different type of mushroom. If you don't want to use shiitakes, that's fine, but I'll get to that. We're gonna use ginger, 1 red pepper, and 1 star anise, or 2 small ones. We're gonna use garlic, shallot, scallion, some celery leaves for the garnish at the end, some Thai basil inside the soup, and Thai basil as garnish at the end as well, and then some baby bok choy. And then other than that, we're gonna have a little soy, some fish sauce, and we have a rice noodle. Since you have about 45 minutes to an hour while your stock is simmering, you want to prepare everything else. We're going to take off the stems from the shiitake and we're going to put them inside the stock with everything else. And then we're going to just have our toaster oven preheated. You could use your regular oven. We just used our toaster oven, preheated it to 400 degrees. We minced up one big clove of garlic. And what we're gonna do is just drizzle the shiitakes with some olive oil. And then other than the garlic, we're just gonna put a little bit of salt and pepper. And that is it. So while the shiitakes are going, we're gonna prep all the other ingredients for the soup. We're just gonna mince up our garlic. We're gonna mince up one big shallot. With the green onions, I'm just going to dice up the white parts, and that's gonna be sauteed in the soup in the beginning. And then with the green parts, I'm gonna leave a pretty big dice. You can cut it on a bias, like bigger pieces of scallion. For the baby bok choy, I just wanted to cut the bottoms off and leave them cut in lengthwise strips. I don't want to cut it down too much. So that's it on that. For the Thai basil, we're going to cut some of it up to go inside the soup, and we're going to save some full leaves for some garnish at the end. And then for the ginger, just like we did for the stock, we're going to just cut it up. We're not going to even peel it. Just leave it in big pieces. This is common Asian style. Kathy doesn't even peel it. It's totally fine in the soup. I thought it would be kind of cool for a garnish just to like fry up some crispy chicken skin. And this is just very simple. I added a tablespoon of olive oil. So it takes about 1.5 to 2 minutes on each side on like medium-high heat. Just some olive oil. That's it. So it'll finish crisping once you take them out just from the air. And that is our alarm for our shiitake mushrooms. Okay, so these are gonna finish crisping up just from the air, and while they're, ooh, it smells so good. And while they're nice and greasy, we're just gonna add just a tiny little bit of salt there. There we go. So this is our garnishes are done for our soup, okay? So this is the exact texture that I want the mushrooms. They're nice and just kind of like crispy. And it's gonna be perfect. Now we wanna strain our chicken stock into a couple big bowls, and we will put some into some smaller containers to freeze all the rest that we're not gonna use. Okay, so all the hard work is done. Now's the fun part. I've got a medium-sized Dutch oven on the range. It's been heating up for a good 4 to 5 minutes, so I know it's super hot. I put a couple tablespoons of olive oil in there, and now we're basically just gonna saute all of our red chili pepper, our scallions, our ginger, the shallots, the garlic, and just let everything kind of marry together. So we actually let all these flavors just have a good time in there for a good 3-4 minutes and just have everything well sauteed. We're gonna add some water. Just about a quart. And now what we're gonna do is we're going to steep this with the 1 star anise, and then some of our Thai basil. Okay, so take out the star anise now. It smells phenomenal. Pour all of this in there. I might put a little bit more, but okay. We want to add in all of our diced chicken at this point, as well as our baby bok choy. We want to put it in towards the end because we don't want it to wilt down too much. That was some fish sauce that I added. And now I'm adding some soy sauce. Not a lot, a couple dashes of each. And then we're gonna do some salt. and the rest of the scallions. So we're gonna use a half package of the vermicelli rice noodles. So you can use any kind of noodle that you want. Okay, so we just waited a few minutes just until the noodles softened up. It took about maybe 3 minutes. I'm gonna move this over here and it's time to plate up. Put this here. That's hot. I put about half, saving half the mushrooms for Kathy, half for me, so I've got just enough for her on this one. And then I'm gonna do some chicken skin. So that's gonna rehydrate when we sauce this up. And then we got our celery leaves and our basil, Thai basil on top. There we go. If you're just leisurely cooking at home, you can just take your time, just make your chicken stock, roast your shiitake, build your soup. It's a lot more hectic with, you know, making a video, so we're trying to crunch everything together, but just take your time, do everything just the way that we showed you. And if you could, just leave a like and subscribe, and also leave a comment. We'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment if you try this recipe, and we will see you on the next episode. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great night.